I've had a Kindle now for almost 4 months, and here are my experiences, my pros and cons, whether I would recommend it to you or not, and we're also gonna cover some Kindle Unlimited recommendations, so stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to this new video of mine. A very fun one if you ask me, because I just love chatting about my Kindle. A few months ago I did an unpacking. I'm gonna link the video somewhere here. And today I want to get back to you and tell you if I actually enjoy it still, if I like it, if I feel like it's worth the price. I know there are new ones out there now, but still the concept of a Kindle doesn't change. And also, they didn't add so many new features to the new one, it's just a tiny bit faster, so whether you got the new one, if you're contemplating about getting a new one, or you still have the old Kindle Paperwhite, because this is the 11th edition, I believe, from 2022, 2021. Well, I recently just got the one that was still available before the new ones came out, so let's chat about it. First up, about the pros. For me, I really enjoy that it has a very long battery life. I mean, a lot of people always rave about it. I wouldn't say that for me it lasts up to 6 weeks, but it for sure lasts around like 3 weeks, I would say, 4 weeks maybe, depends on how much I read though, so I don't need to recharge this a lot. Maybe, actually now that I'm thinking about it, 6 weeks could be accurate, because I think I charged it like 2 times since I got it, and now it's been 3.5 months. So that works. Then also, of course, with every e-reader you're gonna get, it's very travel friendly. I mean, if you're a lot on the road, it's just practical. Like, you can just take this with you. This is so much lighter than a physical book. And like, what are you gonna do? Take 10 copies of a book with you whenever you go on a longer vacation? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. So this is like way more practical, way handier, because you simply have millions of copies of books at your fingertips every single time. Like, you can just immediately get a book. Whenever you're interested in one, you can download it right away. I also love that you're able to adjust the brightness, that you're able to adjust the warmth. It's all very easy to set up and to handle. Also that you can adjust the fonts or also upload new ones. There are a lot of personalization features in this, and I really enjoy that part. Did the lamp just go out? When did that happen? That's a bit sad. Okay, we're just gonna leave it like that, but that looks sad. Sorry guys, I was a bit distracted for a second. So there are a lot of personalization features. Under my Kindle video you also taught me how to transfer my actual ebooks that I had on my iPad over here. So that's also very easy. So it's not very difficult to handle. You can also adjust, for example, that if you want to show the book you're reading, if you want to have like the feel of having the cover laying there, you play the cover over here, like as your screensaver. I love that function, unless it's like a very smutty and spicy book, then I don't love it as much. But in general, I think it's very, very cool that you can do that. This is of course only if you don't have the ads version, which for me is a bit unnecessary, that you need to pay 20 bucks, or I think now it's actually 10, that you need to pay money in order to not get ads, but also makes sense, but still it's a bit annoying. Another big plus for me is that it connects to my Goodreads. Of course I don't have all the functions because I live in Europe, so my functions that I get are limited. Like, for me it doesn't upload every single time I have progress in a book or I start a book. That doesn't do that for me, but it transfers all my Kindle notes and highlights that I made over to my Goodreads, and I can see them within the books, which is very, very fun. So you not only have it in a folder here, you also have it on your Goodreads then, like all the annotations and tabs and whatever. It's just very handy, because I love to annotate and I love to highlight a few quotes. So this is also a very good option for one of you if you're reading in a foreign language. So if maybe English is not your first language, and of course there are always some words where you're like, I don't understand this. A Kindle is very handy because you can just tap on the word and it's gonna show you directly like the direct translation or the meaning of the word. So I'm German, so for me this is very handy, because I feel like there are always gonna be some words that I don't know or that I want to learn about. So this is like a very good function to have, that I don't need to pull out my phone. You know, it's annoying. It gets annoying sometimes. And what I also love is that it tracks the time that you have left in a book. This can be a pro, but also a con. Because I sometimes feel like I'm in a race against myself, if that makes any sense. Yeah, this can just be seen either way, but it does help me to read more. I'm more motivated to continue reading. And lastly, of course, a very big pro is also that you can have Kindle Unlimited on here, which are a lot of self-publishers that also publish on Kindle Unlimited. So you get actually a very good subscription fee for that. It's $11.99, which is about 2 to 3 ebooks if you purchase them, but 1 physical book, not even. Like sometimes physical books are like $16 or $18, right? So this is a good price, I would say, that you're paying for millions of copies that you can just get within Kindle Unlimited. But let's move to the cons. There are not a lot of them, but for me it's important that we're gonna have this discussion because I recently had to do an essay for uni about the environmental impact of e-readers and books and all that stuff. That's what I did for uni, and I realized how bad my hobby actually is for the environment. So this has quite a high carbon footprint because this one has the same carbon footprint as if we would have 22.5 books. Like the production of 22.5 books is the same as one e-reader, which if you're not a heavy reader doesn't make sense, because if you don't read 22 books a year or in 2 years, why would you get this? Like then it just doesn't make sense. Then you can also read on your phone or on your tablet or whatever, or if you really read that little you can also just get the physical copy. But if you're a heavy reader and you read like 10 books a month, this is for sure a better option and a better purchase actually for the environment as well. I don't want to make this like an environmental discussion, but I've never heard someone talk about this, so I wanted to state this here. I don't know if it's the same with the newer ones because the reports I found were already a bit older, but in case those statistics are still true, I just wanted to put that out there. I haven't heard that the new ones are recycled, but I've heard that the Kobo Libra, I think, or just Kobo in general, uses recycled materials. So this is something that you can already consider. So Kobo e-reader might be a bit more fitting if you're looking out for that, right? I wasn't aware of that beforehand. I still can recommend the Kindle, but I just wanted to put that out there. Another one is that, of course, it's beautiful that we have so many millions of copies directly at our fingertips. And also that it is connected to our credit card right away. That's lovely, right? Yeah, technically, but also I noticed that I spend a lot of money on that because I don't notice anymore. Like I'm just like, oh, I want to read this, so I just get it right away. And then sometimes I'm like, where did those €4 go? What happened there? Of course, that's with everything. It's with every subscription you have. But this thing makes it really easy to spend money, and I already felt that way when I got it. But also it's not only the spending money part, it's also the part of like, you have so many books that you can download right away. And I have like probably 20 books on here that I wanted to read, that I maybe even started, didn't finish, because it's just such an overconsumption, such like an overflow of information that I feel a bit overwhelmed with my choices. Like it gets me in a bit of a reading slump, and this has nothing to do with the Kindle itself. But if you feel like you're easily overstimulated, this is also not for you. Maybe just go to a bookstore and pick one book and be certain you're going to read that one. I'm just overwhelmed sometimes. This one also glitches sometimes, just a little, not too much, but it glitches a little. I don't know about the new ones, cannot tell you much about that, but you cannot get this one anymore unless you get it used. So I feel like the size is very good though. It's just very handy. I just love this thing. Like, I really love it. And as I said, if you read a lot, it's gonna make sense for you to get. Like, it's definitely worth it. So I didn't tell you a lot of cons because for me personally, I just don't have a lot. I would like that you can add it to your mobile data. I don't think I can do that. So if you're on the go, you need to download things beforehand, which is fine. But that's just something that I would like, you know? But overall, I'm very pleased with my e-reader. I love this thing. Like, this is an extension of me. And also that you can read at night, just a lot of pros. Very easy to handle. I can recommend it. Talking about recommendations though, let's talk about my Kindle Unlimited Recs, but also like a few Kindle Unlimited nudges I have for you. Books that I have not read yet, but that are interesting and on my list. So I'm just gonna go through them so that you know what Kindle Unlimited has to offer. If I read the book, I'm gonna let you know. I didn't really pick thrillers here because I'm just simply not reading those. Okay, I can tell you right away. The Housemaid is on Kindle Unlimited. A lot of Frida McFadden books are on there, and that's all I know. Because as I said, I'm not into thrillers, but I can tell you about fantasy, I can tell you about romance, and I can tell you about dark romance. So let's get into it. First up, let's talk about fantasy books that are on there. We have the entirety of the Cruel Prince series, which is the Wicked King series? No. Kings of Elfheim, I think it's called. Well, that series is on there. I did read it like a few years ago, and I love that it's on there because it's a very good series. It's very political, so it's more fantasy than romance, just keep that in mind. But it's been very hyped on Book Talk and on BookTube and everywhere actually for years already. So if you haven't read it yet, you can read it technically for free on Kindle Unlimited. I also gotta say I hate this marketing because I still fall for it. If you have Kindle Unlimited, and you're gonna look at some books, I'm gonna show you this because it's so frustrating to me. I hate that. I hate that so much because technically it's not for free. I'm spending €12 a month on this, but then I feel like, okay, I'm reading free books over here. Lucky me. Yeah, actually I'm not. I'm giving them way too much money. But yeah, so first the fantasy recommendations. The next one is A Kiss of Iron. I wanted to read that one this month actually. So this is still on my reading list. It has a very interesting premise. It's more like fantasy romance, romantasy, whatever you want to call it. I just love that these books are on there. I'm just so excited. Like, that makes me so happy. The next one is also the Zodiac Academy. We have all the books of the Zodiac Academy on Kindle Unlimited, which makes it very easy to binge them. I'm only at the first book right now, but I feel like this is a very good series to get into fantasy because it has like all these mystical creatures. And it's kind of like Harry Potter vibe, but also different. I just can't explain it, but it has so many mystical creatures and also bully romance, I think, and it has like so many interesting aspects. Maybe you should just give it a shot. Like, it's fun. That's for sure. Then we also have all of Carissa Broadbent's books on there, as far as I'm concerned. We have the Daughter of No Worlds series, and also we have The Serpent and the Wings of Night. All of her series actually, also her novellas. I read The Serpent and the Wings of Night and I enjoyed it. It was a 4-star for me. I didn't love it as much as everyone else did, but it's still a very good fantasy book, especially if you're like a little bit into vampires. Can recommend. Then there's also by Laura Telesa the Pestilence series, so the 4 Horsemen series I think it's called. So I don't know actually if this is dark romance, if this is romance, if this is fantasy. I'm just gonna categorize it as dark romance and fantasy right now, because it's like the 4 horsemen are coming to the world, trying to destroy it, and then 4 women fall in love with them, but like we're following each woman and each horseman with every single other book, right? So I don't know, it's confusing. I cannot explain it properly. I read at the beginning of the year, the first one, and I enjoyed it, so if you like dark romance and if you like fantasy, this may be for you. Also very apocalyptic, so could be interesting for you. Also on there is A Court This Cruel and Lovely. I've not read this one yet. I've seen it around. I'm very interested and intrigued. It sounds very good. Same as The Ever King and also Glow of the Everflame. So these are all books that I'm really curious about reading. I'm a romantasy girly at my core. I just love it, and I feel like we have a lot of good romantasy books on Kindle Unlimited. Another one that everyone has been raving about, especially on Book Talk, was Quicksilver. Now I don't hear a lot of people talking about it anymore, but it had its hype, it had its moment, and that one is also on Kindle Unlimited. As well as The Divine and the Cursed. Not read either of these. They all sound similar, they all look similar, but they're just a vibe. So I think they're all gonna be like in the same level of good, and maybe if you're interested, you know now where you can get them. Now moving on to romance. The first one we have is the entire The Deal series by Elle Kennedy. The Dixon Rule is also on there. Elle Kennedy everyone knows at this point, and if you don't, you can read The Deal by her on Kindle Unlimited. We also have all of Anna Huang's books. So we have, of course, the entire Twisted series. We have the King of Sins series as well. And also her newest release, The Striker, is also on there. I wasn't such a big fan of the Twisted series. I'm still curious about her newest release though. And I'm excited that I can read it on Kindle instead of having to go to the store, buy it. You know, like it does feel like I'm reading it for free, and that makes me kind of happy. Another series that I really enjoyed so far, because I'm 2 out of 4 books in, is the Mile High series. So this is a very fun interconnected standalone series as well. The 5th book is coming out next year, I believe. It's just cute. It's a sports romance. I can recommend. The next one is Call My Bluff. I'm currently wanting to read it. Like, I didn't start it yet, but it's on my Kindle because it just came out like in November, and it's also like a romantic comedy. Very lighthearted, I think. I don't know, I haven't started it. I also didn't see any reviews yet because it just came out, but I wanted to nudge you in the direction that maybe this could be fun. Another author that has her books on there is Lauren Asher. So she wrote the Dream Not Billionaire series, but she also wrote Love Redesigned. I doubt that Love Redesigned is on there actually, but let me check. As we already discovered, there's Throttled on there. Oh, okay, so the Lakefront Billionaires series is also on there, and the Dream Not Billionaires as well. Yeah, so she has all of her books on there, which we love. She's a very fun author. Like, I started The Fine Print by her, and I think it's a very interesting premise, and I'm actually interested in going back into it. I think I read like 100 pages and then I DNF'd. Soft DNF'd. I just wasn't fully in the mood for it. She's an author I'm still interested and curious in. Then we also have The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I didn't see a lot of Christina Lauren's books on there, but The Unhoneymooners I did start. literally 3 pages in, like really not far, but the part I read I did like. I liked their writing style, very fun and intriguing. And also the Honeymooners is a very interesting premise. I think this is a fun, especially summer read. Not for everyone like us right now, it's becoming winter, so maybe if you're in a different hemisphere, then maybe this is the book for you right now. A book that also a lot of people have been raving about, but either they've been hating it or they've been loving it actually, is A Love Letter to Whiskey, but very important, the 10th anniversary or 5th anniversary edition. I don't know, it's just the anniversary edition that is on Kindle Unlimited, because I've heard that makes a big difference. Another book that just came out this year is Passenger Princess, and I personally have not read it, but a friend of mine did. And she said it's a very, very fun romance. She enjoyed it a lot. I think she gave it 4 stars. And I've also heard a few other people talk about it by now, and it was for all of them a solid read and a fun read. So if you're interested in this, it's on Kindle Unlimited. Like all of these. I'm gonna start repeating myself on that one. Something I'm severely happy and excited about is that the Addicted and Calloway Sisters series is completely on there, because I started it and I'm now on book 3. I just already love the characters. I can recommend it to you so much. I just feel like it's a very great series. It's just fun. It's not lighthearted by any means, like not at all, but I can really recommend it to you, and I'm happy that like the books that are so hyped for such a long time are still on there, because I feel like it just gives me also a possibility to read them for a more affordable price, because it would cost you probably like 200 bucks just to get the entire series. So spending 12 euros on Kindle Unlimited to be able to read that entire series per month, I don't think that's a bad deal actually. So for me, I don't see all of Elsie Silver's books on there, but the series I see on there is Off to the Races, which I have not read yet, but I like her writing style so far. I've read Flawless and Heartless, I think that's what the 2 are called. Really enjoyed them, so the first 2 ones in the Chestnut Spring series. Very, very fun series. Made me actually obsess over cowboys. Like, I don't know what's happening. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Then also we have Consider Me by Becca Mack, which is also this entire sports romance series. There's a lot of sports romance on there, I realize right now, because it also has Behind the Net on there. Yeah, it's not stopping anytime soon. The dog outside is going crazy, okay. Another book a friend of mine has read is P.S. You're Intolerable. And this is a book that's on my TBR, because she said she thinks I would really enjoy that one. She found it very fun to read and she said I would enjoy it. So I'm giving you the recommendation as well. I'm forwarding it to you. A book that I just recently also downloaded on my Kindle, because that's my obsession recently that I do. I just suffer through that. I just always download new books. Is The Wrong Bride. I saw someone on TikTok talk about it, and yeah, I am a victim of that. Like when I see someone talk about a book, I want to read it. The Wrong Bride sounded very interesting, almost dark romance-y. I don't know if it's dark romance or if it's a normal romance, so I just put it in there now, because the last one is Still Beating. Still Beating is one of my favorite books of the year. This was such a good read. It's like almost a thriller, it's a romance, dark romance, I don't know what to say. Like, it's just beautiful. But read the trigger warnings, because as I said, like, I don't know if it's a dark romance or not, so this is like the in-between. And we're moving into dark romance now. And with all of these as well, please, please, please read the trigger warnings. I mean, they are there for a reason. And of course you don't want to spoiler yourself all the time, but maybe be responsible with what you're reading. What's very fun is that most of Rena Kent's books are on there, so also the entire God of Malice series, or Legacy of God series I think it's called. I didn't read that one yet. I wanted to maybe do that in a reading vlog, because I'm very curious about it. Rena Kent's books are just very loved, from what I've heard so far. We also have the Mindfuck series. I'm currently on book 3, so over halfway, and I'm obsessed with it. Like, it's almost like thriller-y. It's a bit crazy, yeah? But I love it. I need to take some breaks because it's just a bit too heavy for me sometimes. But it's basically like 5 novellas, and if you would get the physical copy, it's all 5 novellas in one book. So it's very, yeah, not easy reads, but quick reads in a way, because I mean, each book only has like 100, 150 pages. It's not an easy read though. Like, it's gonna stick with you, that's for sure. If you're into that type of stuff, like she's a serial killer and he works for the FBI, if that sounds intriguing to you, maybe this is for you. Also, Hooked, the entire series is on there. So I read Hooked, I really enjoyed it. It was 3 or 3.5 stars for me. It was fun. Like, I can definitely recommend it. It was a bit creepy at times, like, I gotta say it. That was my step into the door of dark romance, and I was like, ooh, it's a bit heavy sometimes. But I think it was a good beginner's book in that sense. Another book I'm about 30 or 40% in is The Sweetest Oblivion. It's a mafia romance, and it's very fun. So this one I can definitely recommend to you. I wouldn't say it's very, very dark as of right now. It's like giving toucher and I will kill you. That's for sure. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily completely dark romance. It's also not cute though, yeah? Don't get it twisted here, like that's definitely not the case. Another crazy book actually that I've heard people rave about recently is Little Stranger. So that one is on Kindle Unlimited and I'm still afraid of picking that one up because that one sounds very twisted to me, but it's on there. So if you're curious and you want to read it, you can read it. As well as Credence by Penelope Douglas. I don't think she has a lot of her books on there as far as I know, but Credence is on there, which is one of her most famous ones. She also has the Corrupt, so the entire Devil's Night series is also on there. That one I did start. I'm about halfway through the first book. I do enjoy it, I'm just not fully connected to the characters yet. But I think that's gonna happen when I continue reading the series. Penelope Douglas is a very interesting and intriguing author to me. And lastly, because we already talked about Mafia Romance, Brutal Prince is also on there. So that entire series by Sophie Lark. I have not read that one yet, so I cannot tell you much, but it's on there. I hope this helped you a little bit. I hope I could guide you through Kindle Unlimited a little and help you if there is maybe something that you're intrigued in, if it would make sense for you to get it or not. I mean, you can always monthly cancel it as well if it's not for you. And otherwise, you can always just directly purchase the books in the Kindle app or on your Kindle. You just need to figure out what's the best way for you. If you want to have a few more Kindle videos, maybe where I show you my settings or talk you through a few more things, let me know. And I hope you have a beautiful and blissful day. Thank you so much for watching. That was a lengthy video, so I'm very glad you made it through. So maybe if you watch it all the way to the end now, leave me this emoji in the comments down below. Then I know, and then we can chat in the comments. Have a beautiful and blissful day, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow. Bye!